depth explanation of this terrain. I've deleted some of the stuff out of it. The first thing I like to do is go into your terrain defaults or your terrain perimeter settings, and I turn off automatic here. That must be turned off because Cheif will automatically decide what height the building pad, the subfloor height, will be above the building or in relation to the building pad. So I turn that off. Turn off flat building pad. You don't want it controlling any of that stuff. There might be times when you do, but I've never used it. It's probably more for a. I don't think it even suits a new user because I think it's just annoying. But then maybe I'm a control freak too. So then I come down here and terrain smoothing, I set that to low because that's another way Cheif likes to take control of the shape of the terrain a little bit. And there might be times when you do want to turn on medium, but I like low, and I also like low triangle count. So I go with those settings. Another thing I like to do is in version 10, this is done different in version 16 and 17 and a lot of other versions. You go into your 3D defaults and turn off auto rebuild terrain so that when the terrain is going to be rebuilt, you will be controlling it, and it stops. It just helps Cheif as far as it makes it a bit more responsive because it's not rebuilding the terrain whenever a camera's open or anything unless it needs to. So we've turned that off, and then I'll also set up a hotkey, customize hotkeys. I'll come in here, TERRAIN. I'm doing a search for terrain, and then I'll scroll down to where it says build terrain. There it is there, and I've called it Control Q. So you come here and you type in Control Q and you click on assign, and you've got a shortcut key for when it's going to build the terrain. I like to do that because it just helps. It stops Cheif rebuilding it all the time when you don't want it to. So that's another thing that I like to do. So we'll go and have a look at a camera view and see how it's looking. We'll go Control Q and it probably won't change. No, it didn't change. So you've got this 53 millimeters you want above the floor height. There's multiple ways you can do it, and I'll show you one. So you could go in here and go 53, and I don't know what's going to happen here, whether it needs to be a negative number or a positive number. So I've put 53 inches in there. We'll come back here and we'll go, so it jumped down, so obviously it needs to be a negative number. Well, I thought that was a little bit funny, but that's fine. Minus 53. Control Q. So it automatically does that. It's not letting me build it, but anyway, doesn't matter. So that would then move the terrain up to there. But it's probably not how I would handle it, but it's just a simple way of doing it. And then you could put in negative elevation heights down here to shape the terrain to get it to slope down the front. But I have a tendency to like sticking with 0 so you know where things are, and it's simpler in your mind to understand what height should be. You're not doing mathematical equations in your head trying to figure out what height you should be putting your data at. So we'll go back here and it should be standing out. So there it's back to normal, and it's funny because I turned off auto rebuild terrain, but it was doing it because it must do it with that setting. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Alright, so now that we've got the terrain set at 0, which matches the floor height, because that 0 is in relationship to the building, the subfloor height. So we'll put some elevation lines in, and we'll put one back up here. If I click, no, I haven't clicked the right tool. I've got to cancel that because I don't want that. I want an elevation line. So we'll come across here We'll put an elevation, and you'll notice I've made the line weight really thick on the elevation line. I've got it set at about 200, and I've also turned on show line weights so that it stands out when I'm working it, because sometimes you might have multiple, especially when you learn and you'll whack a line and forget that you put it in, and it'll be messing your terrain up, and if you can't see it, it'll be fighting you. So you'll notice that the line weights are thick and fat and bright blue, so I can't miss them. So I haven't got elevation data in there that's hiding somewhere, and I don't know what it does with one of these points. Let's put that in there, and we'll go 0, and we'll make the radius, I don't know, 20 inches. We'll see what happens. There you go. So that ends up being a thick line weight too, but I don't want to use one of them for what we're doing, because your terrain's pretty uniform. So we've got this one set. What height have I got it at? I'm going to set this at 53 plus, I'm going to go 73. And then we might get sneaky and just copy it down here. And down here we'll set it at 53. And then we'll do another one. We'll just copy and paste it. We can let it cross here because these foundation walls aren't retaining walls. Hopefully that'll make sense to you in a minute with what I'm going to show you. So we'll bring this down here. But in the driveway, these are retaining walls, and you don't dare want that line crossing that fountain. I'll show you in a minute. I'll give you a proper picture of it. So, no, I'm not going to build the train yet. Now, we'll copy this down here. And I'm doing this particularly wrong to show you something, to demonstrate it to you. Because it was nice and easy to do that, and it seems like it's the right thing to do, but it's not. And it's what you call overlapping terrain data. When they tell you on Cheif Forum, don't have your data overlapping. We'll make this, say, 8 inches, because I don't know what it should be. And then we'll go and build the terrain. We'll go Control Q. This is going to look weird, I warn you. And it's all because I've lapped the data over. I've crossed elevation data over onto the driveway section, which, because of the retaining walls, it should be a different elevation data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this wall, complete break, pull this back to here, pull this one back to here, and then we'll go Control Q and we'll get a different result. Now we'll see what it looks like in the camera view. Ooh, weird, man, weird. That's weird, isn't it? Oh, what have I got wrong? Definitely got something wrong. It's because I haven't got enough data in there. Hang on, what are the heights of things here? So the height of this one is 8 inches. So we'll drag this down here. Hang on, no, I want that to stay there, but I want to paste it. Drag this down here. And drag it across there because it's not crossing any retaining walls now. And we'll set this height to minus 40 inches, I suppose. I don't know. It's all a big fat guessing game for me. Control Q. Because I haven't got the actual heights of your site. All I'm looking at is a photo on Cheiftalk. Now it's starting to get there. Oh, I know what's wrong. I know what's wrong. This will improve it. We've got the wrong height here. I can't remember what it's set at. So that's set at 0. Why am I getting that? Is it because am I causing it a heartache? I think I am. I think I'm making it hard for Cheif by having that in there. We go Control Q and yeah, I think it's starting to get happier now. So yeah, now it's actually starting to look like a lot closer to what you wanted. I'm happy with that. And that's pretty much how I get it. There's a whole lot more things to learn about it, but that's the basic shape that you were struggling to create, and you've got it there. Is there anything else I should tell you about? Oh yeah, I'll demonstrate some things that you shouldn't do. See this elevation height? This retaining wall is an invisible line that breaks the terrain, and you can't have anything crossing that terrain break. So if I pull this across here, it's going to mess things up. We'll go Control Q, and you'll see straight away it rebuilt the terrain. It didn't like it. See what it's done there? So it's dragged up the retaining wall's bottom. But if I come back here, Control Q, now it'll be back to normal. So see how it's working now? And that's the sort of things, that's called overlapping data again, that I discussed before. You got to remember that the retaining wall is like it's a retaining wall, and on one side the earth is one height, and on the other side of the retaining wall the earth is another height. And you can't have the data telling the heights crossing. If you have this side's height interfering with this side's height, Cheif's going to have a hard time, and it's going to mess the terrain up, and that's mostly what people mess up. Yeah, I hope that makes sense to you. I think I'll stop at that. I'll save it, and I might even share that file with you on Cheiftalk if you want. Yeah, no, I'll stop at that.